about to talk about Super Wild Card Weekend.
Super Wild Card Weekend.
Yes, sir. You already know what it is. It's that time of season. So the way we're going to do it today for our viewing audience, right? Instead of me elaborating on the same team and you telling me your opinion and I'm either backing you or agreeing with you, what we're going to do is this. You take a team and I go the opposite. We're going to give the pros and cons of the team and what they must do in order to win or what they must do to lose the game. And who's some key players, talking points. This is how we're going to do it. Team, would you like to discuss first? And what game would you like to discuss first?
I got all the games in order.
Let's go.
Want to do it in order?
Let's do it in order.
First game is Saturday. It is in the afternoon. I think it's 4:30. I didn't write it down. It's the LA Chargers and the Houston Texans. I'm going to talk about the Chargers.
Okay.
I think the Chargers are a 3-point road favorite. I believe the Chargers win. I believe right now, they have the better quarterback. I believe they are the more well-balanced team.
Mm-hmm.
I also believe they're the healthier team, which has a lot to do with it. And not to throw shade at the other head coach, because I think he's good, but I think they got the edge in head coach. This head coach, he's like a deodorant. He just makes you smell good. You know what I'm saying? There was a stench on the Chargers for so long.
Mm-hmm.
This guy came in. We expected it to turn around fast. It has turned around fast. I believe that they will win on the road. They've got good quarterback. They got Dobbs as the running back. And by the way, guess who they put on their practice squad this week?
Oh, man. Ezekiel.
Ezekiel
Elliott.
They put Ezekiel Elliott, which
Sure did.
I think he will be on the game day roster come Saturday. And I think their defense is going to be pretty good. I think Bosa, Mack, those two guys, they're going to feast. And really, and I know you're going to talk about Houston. I am just not feeling how Houston is playing, how the quarterback is playing. Sometimes it's addition by subtraction. I think the Chargers are pretty good, and they're kind of slightly going up. And I think Houston is kind of good, but slightly going down. So they're almost even, but one's a little bit going up and one's trajectory is a little bit going down. You know, it could be a sophomore jinx for Stroud. I don't know. He might not be that healthy. I don't know. But I think the Chargers, they finished strong. They're in a division with Denver, who's pretty good, and Kansas City is Kansas City. Okay, the only weak link is Denver. So where there's three good teams, they were good. I know what it's about, what it's all about when you're in a division and there's three good teams and one's terrible. I know all about that. Mm-hmm. So I got to say, I like the Chargers. I like them to win on the road. The number is 42.5. I think this is going to be a little bit of a low-scoring game. I see a lot of defense, and I see a lot of miscues on offense, especially on Houston. I'm going to take the under. I got the Chargers winning this game.
All right. As far as the Texans, on the defensive side, they're going to play almost problem-free football. Stroud going to have to be very careful with that football. Nico Collins is going to get doubled. Okay, so I'm looking for other guys going to have to step up. They're going to have to step up. A lot of Joe Mixon. It's going to be very difficult because of the defense that's being presented in front of them. So is this a very tall task right now, in my opinion, for the Texans to come out, especially the way that they went out, how they finished out the season. On a terrible skid there. I'm looking for their identity because of the shuffle missing pieces. Stroud's not really being as accurate as he should be. It's a lot for the Texans to take on. You know, I think it's a dangerous opponent coming in, a confident opponent. They've been playing better football. I will be leaning towards Chargers.
Did they cover the 3?
Yeah, they'll cover the 3. They'll cover the 3.
42.5 over under.
Under. It's under with me.
All right, so we are in agreement on game number 1 on Saturday. Game number 2, the night game, Pittsburgh
Ravens
at
versus
Baltimore.
Steelers.
This will be the third time
Yes, sir.
these two teams will be playing each other. Again, one team I think is a little better than the other, but they're ascending, and the other one is taking a nosedive.
Well, I'm taking the Baltimore side of this equation. So
Should I take Baltimore? What did we agree on?
not Baltimore. You said Pittsburgh.
Okay, then I'll do Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Pittsburgh.
So I am not feeling Pittsburgh in this game. They've lost 4 in a row. I will stick to what I said. I don't think they ever should have made a quarterback change. I think you know what you're getting with Russell, and it's going to be a porous version of what he used to be. He was doing pretty good, and then it seemed like the league figured out if you take away Pickens, you don't take him, if you don't play him man to man, and you actually double him, and you kind of shade the defense to his area, all of a sudden other guys can't step up. Tight end is pretty good, but they wind up kicking out one of their receivers.
Mm-hmm.
So I really think if you can prevent Pickens from having a big day, they don't really have anybody else. And do they have a couple of good running backs? Yes, they do. But they're not quick hitters. They're plodding battle rams kind of running backs. They're not, see the hole, they're gone. They make 2 guys miss, and it's going to be 60 yards the other way. They don't do that. They don't get big 10, 15-yard plays. They get a good play for them is 4 or 5 yards. That's it. So you're not going to get a huge play. So if you play the pass, kinda, I think that's a winning formula for almost anybody, especially Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh's defense is good. They're not quite as good as they were earlier in the year. And I think Tomlin's a good coach. He's a good culture guy. I would not mind if the Bears did one of those, I'll give you my first round pick for your coach, because I think he would be good for a city like Chicago, an organization like Chicago. But I think his days of making a run in the AFC, listen, they finish with a winning record every year or 500 record.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go next level. They're not a threat. They're not a 12, 13 win team anymore. They're a 9-8, 10-7 team, which is fine, but this is Pittsburgh, and it's kind of like been there, done that. They're not really bringing. I feel like when they brought in Russell to take over for Fields, what they're saying is they don't have their quarterback for next year. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll get rid of both.
Mm.
Instead of keeping 1 or 2, I think they get rid of both. Because I don't think you replace Fields to say, but I want to keep you for next year. And I think they're going to see with Russell, we had him on the cheap, but they're not the best team in their division. And when you don't have the best quarterback, that's a nah for me, bruh.
Okay.
So Baltimore is favored by 9.5.
9.5. Yes, sir.
That means they got to win by 10.
By 10.
And I think they cover that. I got Baltimore with the win, with the cover, and the over-under is 43.5. Baltimore does not put up big numbers, offensive numbers, scoring-wise anymore. So I'm going to take the under. I think Baltimore will hold up their end, but Pittsburgh will not. And I think Baltimore's defense is playing a little better too. So I'm going to go with Baltimore as my pick, and I'm going to take the under.
Talking about Baltimore, you already know I've been saying that I think they'll lead Baltimore as a team I got going to the Super Bowl this year. And Lamar has to be Lamar. Lamar has to be Lamar. He has to go out there and just perform, man. Do what you do. But I think they have to stick and establish the run and stick with it. Derrick Henry is the type of back that he gets going. He'll wear on you. Don't go away from it. If the run is not there in the beginning, don't go, because I know Tom Muskin, like last year, he got away from what they do. Their identity is run the ball. It brings balance. Okay, we might not have Zay Flowers for this game, but you still got Bateman. You still got Andrews, and then you still got Lamar. He's a difference maker. Like I said, the defense has improved dramatically over as the season has been progressing. The defense has got better. They're starting to get into a rhythm. They're the hotter team coming into here. They're playing with confidence. They understand what's at stake. And I think they're primed to tie down a lot of teams in the postseason. I believe that they have the team to go in Kansas City, and we will see, to beat Kansas City, that they could go on Buffalo and beat Buffalo. I believe this to be true. So, in my opinion, they just have to go out there, play their game. You know, this is a division opponent that you have to face for the third time. You know, so familiarity is what it is. So for me personally, I think they'll win the game. I just don't think they'll cover that number. That's 9.5 is a big number. As bad as Russell Wilson's playing, I still believe that the defense of Pittsburgh can keep them in the game. You know, and I think it's going to come down to some critical plays in that game, which is going to decide that game. So for the number, I would take Pittsburgh for the number, but I like Baltimore for the dub. And I agree. I think it will be an under game because I think it's going to be a defensive game. It's going to be a pound game. It's going to be, hey, if there's going to be some shots, you got to take advantage of the shots that you get. Okay. So I got Baltimore winning, but I do got Pittsburgh to cover the number.
By the way, our picks for the regular season, do you want to hear the total?
No, but let's go.
Okay.
No, you're going to tell me. Tell me.
We both had bad weeks. You were better than I was. Now, we thought because it was the last week of the season that some of these games weren't going to be legit, and we were right.
Yes, sir.
I mean, for Kansas City, you know, to lose how they lost.
Yeah.
You know, that tells you all you need to know. So I went 6-10. You went 7-9. On the year, I went 42. I went 142 and 127. So I was plus 15. And for the year, you were 121 and 148. You were
minus
7.
Yeah.
So we're going to look to do better.
Yes, sir.
We're going to look to do better.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next game. Let's do Sunday. Sunday, Denver.
Broncos versus
Buffalo.
Bills.
Buffalo is favored by 9. Okay. And the over-under is 47. Which team did I pick?
You have Buffalo because you got them going to Super Bowl. So you have Buffalo.
Well, no, I don't have them going to
Super Bowl. You don't got them Super Bowl now?
I got Kansas City going to Super Bowl.
Oh, man.
I got Kansas City. Yeah. Buffalo, I think they are the second best team in the AFC. They might be the second best team in the entire league, truthfully. The defense played better than what was expected. Mm-hmm. The offense, you know, MVP Josh Allen possibly. I had a couple players on fantasy that were on Buffalo. The rookie Keon Coleman had a pretty good rookie year. Mm-hmm. Even though he got injured, he still finished with a pretty good rookie year. Kincaid is a good tight end. Didn't get the ball quite as much as I thought he would. I think it got distributed to a whole bunch of guys instead of focusing on one or two guys. I thought it was great when they got Amari Cooper. That gave them a legit number 1.
Right.
And their running back is really good.
Cool. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, he's good. He's had a good year. So they are a very well balanced team. I think they're their second best team. And I think this is going to be a holy, you know what, show for the rookie quarterback in Denver. So I think Buffalo's defense is really going to get at them. I see Buffalo winning comfortably, and they're at home, but I see this being low scoring. I think Denver is going to be a little bit in the shock and awe kind of deal. Their defense might keep them in the game a little bit, but Buffalo will be in total control. They will never be trailing this game. I like Buffalo. I like them to win comfortably. I like them to cover the 9, but I will take the under on the 47.
Okay. I got the Denver side of this. Once again, playoff football. Congratulations to Denver. They overachieved, in my opinion. I didn't see them making the playoffs, not with a rookie quarterback, but then again, I know Sean Payton got his guy, right? Testament to his coaching ability to get the guys, you know, they rally behind the rookie, but that's a big task for that rookie to ask for a rookie to go into Buffalo in a playoff game, playoff atmosphere. It's going to be intense. Yeah, he's a more mature rookie, but I feel like it's a tall task going Buffalo. You know, I think the defense is solid. I think the defense will come play, but you'll have to have balance. You have to run the ball, and then they don't have the most explosive offense for us receivers. You got Cortland Sutton, and I think if you could, I don't say eliminate them, but kind of limit them and make the other guys kind of beat you and put the pressure, bring the pressure to the rookie quarterback. I think that Sean Payton will dial some stuff up. But I think you're going to try to keep it kind of safe. So that tends to go to the better team and the more comfortable team. And I just don't see Josh Allen losing to a rookie quarterback in Buffalo. You know, and as great as Denver's season was, I still don't think that they have that. Not yet. So I'm definitely in agreement with you. I think that Buffalo will win this game, and I think they will cover that number. And being the fact that it will have to be a shootout for Denver to make it go over, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to be limited. In the playoffs, you can't trade field goals for touchdowns, plain and simple. So give me them to the under, and also give me Buffalo to win the game and to cover the number.
Nice. All right, game number 2 on Sunday, Green Bay at Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Philadelphia is a home 4.5 point favorite, and the over-under is 45.5.
Hey.
I was waffling on the over-under on that total. So I'm going to talk about Green Bay.
Yes, sir.
So Green Bay, I saw a lot this year. Green Bay was consistent with beating the average to below average team. But when it came to the winning teams, the big boys, they consistently lost. Now, they were close games, a lot of them, but they lost. And this is one of those games that's a rematch. Again, this kicked off game number 2 of the season in Brazil, where Philly was able to get the win against Green Bay. Good game, offense, but ultimately Philly won. I think Green Bay will come up short again, but I do think they're going to put a scare in Philly. I think what hurts, I don't want to talk about your team too much, but I think what hurts being out, and I think he will play in this game, despite all this concussion protocol. I think he does play. I don't think he'll be sharp. I don't think he'll be sharp throwing a ball. And I think, at least to start the game, I think Green Bay's offense will be humming a little bit. And I could see them going up 7-0, 10-3, something like that. They'll have the lead in the first quarter. It'll be pretty close in the second quarter. Ultimately, though, I think the better team gets it together some point in the third quarter. They make the adjustments. And I think Green Bay once again comes up short against a winning team. They come up short against Philadelphia. They were the third best team in their division. And that's how they're going to play. They're gonna make a game out of this, but ultimately they are not the better team. They are not Minnesota. They are not Detroit for sure. And Philadelphia is the second seed for a reason. And I think Green Bay really doesn't have an advantage on them like they do other teams that they normally beat. And ultimately, I think, Philly, they got the offensive player. I think Saquon's going to be raring to go. He might get off to a slow start because what do you do? What do you do? You got Saquon, 8 men in the box. You try and slow him down. That's the number one thing. But ultimately, when they stick with the run, Philadelphia gets going. I think I had Green Bay as my fantasy defense, so I could tell you when you're airing the ball out a lot, they pick it off, they get sacks. You commit to the run, you can wear them down. You'll beat them in the fourth quarter.
Well, a question for you. How can they? How could they? What would they have to do to win the game?
Green Bay.
Yes.
Green Bay. Well, their defense. Their defense would have to show up all game. Now, it might look like their defense is playing great, but maybe Hurts is just a little off. But they gotta take advantage, defense wise, has got to take advantage of Hurts getting off to a slow start, getting an interception, which they got a lot of this year, getting sacks. They did pretty good with that. Forcing fumbles, forcing turnovers. I think if that defense gives Green Bay's offense extra possessions, short field, those numbers add up. They add up, whether it's a field goal, touchdown, defense leads to offense. Both offense and defense, they'll be in a rhythm. The more attempts you get on offense, the more of a chance you get to score. I mean, that's just simple math. And Philadelphia behind the 8 ball. I could see them coming back from 7. I could see them coming back from 10. But if they're down like 14, 13 in the third quarter, that's when you start to feel the heat. The noose gets a little bit tighter around the neck. I think if Green Bay's defense stays on point for nearly the entirety of the game, they'll win the game. Okay. I think if it's a shootout, Philadelphia scoring, Green Bay scoring, Philadelphia scoring, Green Bay scoring, I think ultimately Philadelphia will outscore Green Bay in the fourth quarter and win it in a shootout, kind of like they did when they played each other in the first game. So I think Green Bay has to dictate this game and how it's played for them to have a chance to win. Now, nobody's shutting out anybody. So it's about field position and possessions. And Green Bay's defense has to outplay Philadelphia's defense. Okay. It could be done.
Definitely good.
This is not an automatic.
Right.
Could be done. I'm taking Green Bay with the number. Mm-hmm. I'm taking Philly to win, but I don't think Philly wins by 5. And the number is 45.5. If Philly wins, it goes over. I'm saying over. I'm going to just say over, which does not play out good for Green Bay if that's the case.
I think that Philly, you got to give it to the back. I think you're going to give a lot of Saquon. But I think that, once again, like you mentioned, I think that Hurts is going to just not be as sharp because you're coming out concussion protocol. It's a timing thing. It is the playoffs. I could see him at time forcing certain plays instead of just feeding Saquon and just kind of letting the balance come that way. I think the defense has gotten better. They definitely have gotten better. But one thing about Philly at home, they tend to play they don't play with the intensity the whole game at home. So that's one thing that they're going to have to do. Now, I believe that they might learn from what happened with Dallas last year. So that was a benefit of what happened with Dallas, is the fact that Dallas slept on Green Bay, and Green Bay came in there and they handled business. So I don't see Philly letting that happen in Philly with the same way, just going in there and not prepared, not coming out aggressive, not matching their intensity, and trying to get it going in the second half. I think, Green Bay might get a drive going together, in the beginning, but I think that at some point, Philly will start making the plays. Okay, I still think it's going to be a nail-biting game. They're going to be tested. But of all the games, I think this is going to be the one they're going to be probably tested the most because of the home field thing. But I got Philly winning. But once again, I have Green Bay. I got Green Bay. It's going to come down to the last drive to me. So I think it's going Green Bay covers the number once again. But I got Philly winning and 45-24. It's on the cusp. That 45 is right on the cusp.
Of course it is.
It's right on the cusp. 45. I go over. I'm gonna go over with you.
All right, agreement again.
Yes, sir.
So far we only disagree on
Commanders versus Buccaneers.
Yeah. All right, the last game on Sunday is Washington at Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. I'm expecting this one to be better than people think it's going to be. Which team did I pick?
You had Washington Commanders.
Good. That's who I want to talk about. Listen, I think Washington has got the offensive rookie of the year. I think there's a complete culture change. They got the right head coach, at least short term. They do. He might not be a guy that's there 5-6 years, but I think 3-4 years. He's the guy. Love the ownership now. You look at Washington, their roster, it's not that great. It's not. They got, one good wide receiver, two pretty good running backs, no one great. Not a great offensive line, but they're doing the job. Not great on defense, good enough. But there is just a positivity going on all throughout Washington. Really is. And it's like a breath of fresh air. Love the quarterback. Love it. He doesn't know that he's not supposed to be this good yet. He doesn't know that. This is just how he plays. And he's going into this game saying, my worst game of the year was week 1 against Tampa Bay. Yeah. That was my worst game. We lost by 17. That was the biggest loss of the year. I don't see that happening again. I think Washington is going to come out. They're going to play good. Yeah. They're going to score touchdowns. They're going to score points. Defense is going to be pretty good. They're going to have their moments where they look real good. Tampa's going to have their moments where they look good too on offense. Tampa Bay is a home favorite. They're a -3, which is the standard. And the over-under is 50.5. You know what that tells me. Take the over. I like Washington and their rookie quarterback to not only cover, but win the game outright. I think Washington advances to next week. Give me the Commanders, and I'll take the over because I told you my rule when it comes to the number 50.
Baker led the league 41 touchdowns, okay? You know what you're going to get with Baker. Baker's going out there, going to sling that pill. I think the X factor in this whole equation is going to be Bucky Irvin. It's going to be Bucky Irvin, the running back, for some explosive plays. You obviously got Mike Evans, but I like the fact that the other guys had to step up, especially with Chris Godwin going down. So now you have balance all around when it comes to receiving core because it can beat you a lot of ways.
Great rookie season for Bucky Irvin.
Yeah.
Out of Oregon.
Yes, sir. The defense have to step up, but it's going to be a tall task. The strength of Washington isn't their defense, but Lattimore will be playing this series. So I think it is going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to go back and forth, man. It's going to be back and forth. And it's not going to be like the first game. It's definitely not going to be like the first game was a blowout. It's not. I can tell you that right now. It's going to be a very competitive game. It's going to come down to that last series. And I think it's going to come down to Cliff Kingsbury play calling, honestly. But I think right now you just let the rookie go. I think they're going to let him go. I think there's going to be no holds barred. What you playing for? It's playoffs. I got the Commanders winning this game also, and I got it to the over.
We're in agreement again.
I hate to be in agreement, brother, but that's how I see the game going.
How you see it is how you see it. It's how I see it. So I'm not going to argue with you. And
in order for them to win the game, for them to win the game, Baker has to have a Baker game. They have to just make the home crowd be their buddy, and the defense has to get some turnovers. You have to disguise some blitz packages. You got to make the game bigger and you got to speed up his pace. Okay. But once again, that's what they would have to do to win this game. It's going to come off the arm of Baker Mayfield and big plays. It's going to be a big play thing. Whoever get the most big plays out this thing. Or I believe if Washington do win, it's going to be drives. They're going to put drives together, which negates the offense, and you can slow a high-power offense down if they're not on the field. That part.
Also got to keep in mind, week 1, Lattimore was not on the team.
He wasn't.
And Lattimore has a very good rivalry with Mike Evans because they were in the same division for so long when Lattimore played for New Orleans. So I'm not going to say he's going to cancel out Mike Evans, but I don't see Mike Evans having a big game against Lattimore. So, if they can kind of take away the number one guy one-on-one, then you better be right about Bucky Irvin. We're in agreement there.
Vikings versus
Last
Rams.
game Monday night, Minnesota at the Rams. Great game. Also a rematch. And Minnesota's second loss of the year was to the Rams.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Minnesota is a road 1-point favorite over the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, before the season started, I had the Rams going to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying that. But to give up on them after they won their division 2 weeks ago, and they rested, their main players, and Minnesota's coming off of that really bad loss to Detroit. It's not so much that they lost, it's that they couldn't get in the end zone. They were in the red zone so long. It just kind of looked like Sam Darnold went back to being Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like that. So which team did I pick?
You had LA.
I like LA. They rested their main guys. They're getting some of their offensive linemen back. They were dealing with offensive line problems since week 1.
They were.
They are a high-powered offense with Nakua and Cup. Although I got to say, I think Cup is starting to go backwards a little bit. They got their tight end back. They got a great running back, a guy that nobody talks about. I know he's great because I had him on my fantasy team.
Oh, yeah, Williams.
Kyron Williams. Great. I mean, he finds the end zone every single week. Love their running back. And their defense is pretty good. You thought that they would fall off because they lost one of the all-time.
Yeah.
But they brought in a couple rookies on that defensive line. And
Yeah.
Good. That Jared Verse.
Yeah.
Defensive rookie of the year. So I think the Rams are a well-rounded team. I think also this is the kind of team they're set up to play against and beat.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a smash mouth team like Philly, or someone like that, and I don't know if they can beat Detroit in Detroit. We'll
mm-hmm.
talk about that when we talk about that. But I think Minnesota plays the kind of style that the Rams like. And the Rams, off of last week where they didn't play really anybody, I think Stafford's got another good playoff run in him. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback now at this point. We're doing Stafford against Sam Darnold. Mm-hmm. We're doing that. I think the Rams have the advantage pretty much everywhere. I think Minnesota had a great season, and I could see this being a super high-scoring game. The over-under is 48. But give me the Rams to win and obviously cover since they're a 1-point underdog. Give me the Rams to win this game and advance.
Okay. Now, Minnesota, man, it's the defense. It's going to be down to the defense. But one thing that I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, especially last week, was the fact that they gave up a lot on the ground. They got killed by the running back. And you're talking about Williams. He's going to run strong. So that part is hard to kind of rattle Stafford. So Stafford, if you give him time, he'll kill you. Like you said, they took Cup out the kind of the rotation. So I think that if they feed him, that's going to be the part that's going to hurt because I don't know if Brian Flores is predicting him to hurt him. So I think he might be an X factor. What they're going to have to do, Sam Darnold wanted to be proficient with that football. He's going to have to get to his playmakers. He was off, and it sounded like he was off. And I blame the play calling too, also for the coaching. You know what I mean? You got to take the points while they're there. So that is momentum. That is getting the rhythm. You don't leave no points on the board. So I think once they left points off the board, it just messed up the rhythm of everything in that game against Detroit. So if they come in there focused, it's a chance of going in LA and beat them. Okay, this is a revenge game. This is a rematch game. The only thing I would say to agree to your point is the fact that the balance part, they don't have a dynamic back. You know what I mean? Whereas, you know, if you had a back, you could do play action. You could, you know,
They
you could
have
cheat a little bit.
Aaron Jones is okay.
Yeah, but nah, he hasn't been dynamic. Come on, brother. He was not what he was in Green Bay. He was not. He was not going killing you. He was not fearing Aaron Jones in Minnesota. Not all year, was you?
No.
Exactly.
And he missed the season too.
Exactly. So really, realistically, you feared the run. You feared the receivers. Addison. You definitely feared Justin Jefferson. And if Sam Darnold has enough time to sit there and pick you apart, he will. He will. He was very accurate with that football. Now, it's going to be intense. It's going to be, and like you said, it's going to be. You got the coach of the year, potential coach of the year, going against a great coach in Sean McVay. It's going to be a very good game.
He's from the McVay tree.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. Yep, he did come from the McVay tree, didn't he? So, man. And I think that the factor in this game is going to be is how Flores dials up them defenses, how he dials up defense packages. It's going to be a very good game, man. I'm going to be on the opposite side of this one. I'm going to say Minnesota. I'm going to say Minnesota goes in there and gets it done. So I think that's going to be in I think that Detroit and Minnesota destined to see each other again. So I got Minnesota. And I think it's a defensive game. We'll keep it to the under.
Under. Okay, we really disagree on this one. All right, cool. I like that. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 6 games, we disagree on 2. So that's it. We disagree on Pittsburgh, Baltimore. We disagree Minnesota and the Rams.
Okay.
It is what it is. Anything else you want to add? You want a couple guys you think might have standout games this weekend?
I got Saquon.
I
got Saquon because he's gonna have to have a standout game. Yeah, and I'd say Josh Allen.
Okay, I have Josh Allen from the AFC, and in the NFC, I have from Washington.
Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
I think the rookie is going to show up and show out. So those are my 2.